Let's go. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Let's continue to share. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, so we are in, again, the past tense. Everything we've been dealing with is from the past tense. Okay, so there's past tense, there's present tense, and there's future tense. In the book that we're studying right now, they decided let's stay in the past. Let's do the past for a minute. Let's stay there. Let's show how things work in the active way in the past. Let's see how it works in the passive way in the past. Okay. So you're going to see the past, the present, and the future. Okay. I'll put you on mute simply because we have a lot of feedback, Koti. So when you want to speak or answer a question, feel free to do so. All right. So what they're going to tell us today is a few things about this. All right. We already know that the letter hey that they're putting on front of a past tense verb is telling us that this letter represents something that can be caused. You can actively cause it or it could passively be caused to happen. Okay. But they want you to know that there's different vowel points that are underneath this letter. And, sometimes that can be confusing because what they're introducing you to is the different ways that you'll see it. You'll see it with all different types of vowel points. You'll see it with the 1 dot that you got right here. You'll see it with 2 dots and you'll see it with 3 dots. And the question for you that I want to ask is, do you think if you change these dots right here, that it actually changed the meaning of this in particular letter? Just a question.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it may change the pronunciation of it, but it necessarily doesn't change the meaning of the letter. Okay. So remember, this is not just the hey for the on the front of a noun. Okay. It's a causative is used to let you know that that letter is saying that something is being caused. Okay. So it's causative. Okay. So it's a form that's being used. Okay. So what this is explaining to us is that you're going to see it in these 3 different ways. So they give us some examples here and they tell us about how something is done, right? So let's look at it. So the first example that they give you here is that he dressed. So first example, he dressed. Okay. Looking at this right now, I'm not trying to confuse anybody, but just want to keep you sharp on it. It's not that they only add in the hey. That's kind of, I don't think it's kind of a little deceitful a little bit in a sense, because the hey represents it's causative, but there's 2 different ways that it can happen. Okay. So one is active, one is passive, but let me just stay with my thought right quick. Okay. So he dressed. So what did he do? He caused someone else to wear clothes. Remember, I told you this might be a little confusing for us because we're thinking, what? He dressed. He caused someone else? Yeah. But if he's the one doing it, then how did he cause someone else? Because he's the one that's doing the action. All right. The example underneath is he brought close, right? Meaning he caused. And the he caused is this here, okay? And to be accurate, which is this is the indicator to let us know, but also too, this right here is connected. That they don't tell that to us here in this example. They don't share it. I don't know why they didn't go ahead and share it, but I'm sharing it because I don't want you to get confused. Because remember, our deal is we're looking at this as a puzzle. If you would keep this in your mind when you are reading, you got to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And the more you see it, the quicker you become familiar with the pieces. So you'll be like, oh, I know what that piece is, and I know what that piece is. Last week, I told you that this in particular designation for cause is what they call a hifil. That's the name of the verbal stem. Okay. It's how the action is being done. Okay. It's a verbal stem. It's how it's being done, the action. Okay. The way it's being done is causative, right? But we also got to look at for the root. So one part is we got to find the root. We got to find what type of verb it is. Okay. So we got to find the root. We got to find what type of verb it is. We got to find out how many people, right? So persons. It's all a puzzle. We're going to find out if it's male or female, which let me just put it up here like gender. Okay. And we also have to find out, so that's persons meaning number. Person, gender, number. Yeah, number. PGN or PNG, whatever way you want to say it. So you got to find these things out. So you got to find out the root. You got to find out how many persons it is. Okay. What type of person it is. Gender, you got to find a number, and you got to find what type of verbal stem it is. That's what you have to find out. Okay. And I'm not asking you to find, because you know a root comes in several different ways. It comes in 2 pieces, which is a parent. And if it's 3 pieces, what is it?
It's a child.
Child. Excellent. Okay. So the 2 plus, equals 1, which is the 3, which is the child. Okay. So that's what you got to look for. And they're not really explaining that here, but I wanted to keep you up on it. I'm not trying to give you advanced teaching. I just want to explain it better than what they're explaining it. Okay. So you can get the book and you can read it and it'd be like, okay, I get it. But there's questions that go along with it. So when you look at this, you guys, you got to ask yourself those questions. Okay. So you got to ask yourself, why are they saying he? If you can answer that question, that means that you're learning.
They
Why did they say he?
say he because the root is perfect.
Yes, the root's perfect. Okay. Even though this letter is added to the front of it. Okay. So the identification sign for us is to say that we know what type of verb stem it is because of this letter and this yod right here. Again, our example is hifael, right? So we got the hi, we got the fi, and then we got the il. Okay. That's what we got. Hi, fa, il. Okay. Let me change this. Maybe this would make better sense. Okay. And then the L. I've changed these letters to these colors to show you something. Somebody tell me if you can understand, why did I change these 3 letters to pink? What am I trying to show you? Think about 3.
Second part of the word.
Yeah, I'm trying to show you the what of the word. If it's 3, if I'm talking about 3 letters, what am I talking about? Think about 2 and then 3. What's 3?
Child.
Child.
Yeah, it's a child what?
Root.
Root. Okay. That's what I'm trying to show you is the root. That's what I want you to find. Okay. Because the only way you can find the root is by knowing what 3 letters there are. Okay. Right. So that's the root. Okay. I wrote that in the wrong color, by the way. Forgive me. The root here are the 3 letters. That's why I put them in pink, because it's 3 letters. Okay. So when you look over here, which letters am I referring to?
Lamed, the bait, and the shin.
Thank you. Lamed, bait, and then the shin, which is called labash. Okay. And labash means to wear. Okay. Or clothes to, okay. To wear something. That's why he says he dressed them. Right. So that's excellent. Marcia, excellent. Right. So if that's the case, now that I found my root, I'm done. I already know what that piece of the puzzle is. As Dr. Yared had said, it's 3 letters. And because it's 3 letters, it tells me that it's perfect. Okay, but now I want to know, is it a male or a female? What gender is it?
Male,
Male.
Male. Somebody tell me why. Masculine. Tell me
in
why.
perfect form.
It's in a perfect form because it's 3 letters. Okay. Now, if I do a little ah on the end, I threw another letter on there, it'd be feminine, but it's perfect. Okay. Because there's nothing added to the front and there's nothing added to the back. It's just straight up by itself. 3 letters. It's perfect. Okay. And it's masculine. Good job. Now, so if I'm talking about a masculine, now we're going to find out how many persons. I found, is it 1 person, 2 person, 3 person?
1.
And so
one,
on. And am I talking, is he the first person, second person, or third person?
first,
Third.
It's the third. It's a 3 MS. And the reason why is simply because it's a past tense. Okay. And that's talking about something that's perfect. And when it's perfect, it means that you're talking about something that's been done, right? So lavash means he dressed. He dressed. Okay. So you're not talking, the first person is not talking, and the first and second person are in the conversation. When you say something about somebody, he, okay, say for example, you and I are talking right now. And I want to talk about one of your friends or, named Johnny. And we start talking about Johnny, and Johnny's not in our he's in our conversation, but he's not present. We have to refer to Johnny as, when you mention the actions that you've done or what he's done, you say he, or that belongs to him. Okay. So third person, it's always the conversation, first person, second person, third person. Okay. So once you find out those pieces to your puzzle, you would better understand. All right. So our verbal stem is this hey, and then this I in that word hifil. Okay. Since I got rid of that now, right? And the reason why it's this here's a HI is simply because that's how you say hi. It's just not H, it's hi. Okay. So this and this right here represents this and this. Just like there's space right here between this letter and this letter, there's space between this letter and this letter right here. There's space between there. Okay. There's a little man right here. Okay. There's space. Okay. You guys get that? Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So, because there's a space. And the space between them is the space that you see right here. Okay. So how many letters are between that space of this and this?
2.
2. 1, 2. And then there's a third letter. Got you. Now, this is the format to let you know that something is causative, a very basic way to continue to understand it. So if I got those 3 letters right there, right, or those 3 spaces, those then can be filled with what? Think about 3. What can I put in these spaces?
Child.
Yes, I could put the child root, okay? The 3-letter root, all right? So if I said I wanted to be a call, that's what it would be. Hey, Akil, okay? And so if it has to do with a call means to eat. Very simple. But we're not talking about a simple, we're talking about a causative. So if I cause somebody to eat, what did I do?
Fed them.
You fed them. Perfect, you guys. You understand? Now, let me ask you a question before we go on. How many people, who are we talking about? Are we talking about one person? Are we talking about two person? Are we talking about masculine? Are we talking about feminine? Are we talking about singular? Are we talking about plural? Who are we talking about? According to what you have up here.
Two people.
Hey, I'll call. I want you to remember this.
He.
Two or more.
Who are we talking about? One, are we talking first person, second person, third person?
Third person.
We're
Third.
talking about third person, perfect. Is it masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
Is it singular or plural?
Singular.
Okay. Now, how do I know this? How can I prove that? You can prove it by saying that the root itself is 3 letters. And when it's 3 letters by itself, it's perfect. It's a 3MS. Now I'm going to throw a little hook in there for you to show you. And it's not a trick. It's just to show you something. That is masculine right now, but I'm going to throw femininity in there. That's femininity. Now that I told you it's feminine, it goes, did I change the number from 3? Is it still 3?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. And I changed it from masculine to feminine, and it's still singular. Okay, so even throw that femininity on there, it's still perfect. But now instead of saying he fed someone, she fed someone. Okay, now watch this. I throw on another ending on the end of everything. Okay. Let's throw another ending on. New.
He fed them.
Yes. Okay, listen, I got to correct myself. Now we introduced, okay, a suffix. Okay. So now, who is doing the feeding?
He.
Huh?
He.
So
is it a first person, second person, or third person?
Is it third?
It is. Okay. Let me see. 3 thing. Nope. I'm correct. It's not correct. It's not. It's a first. The new here is a first person. Okay. And let me give an example. When I say Eloheinu, I said our Elohim. So our is on, okay, Eloheinu, our Elohim, okay? And then is first person because it's unified, all of us together. Is it masculine or is it feminine?
Masculine.
It's masculine. Is it plural or is it singular?
Plural.
Plural. But there's one thing that I want to bring you to is what they call common. Because our or we or us is unified as one. Okay. And it's masculine, common, plural. It's a common group of people saying something. Okay. So in this example right here, I'm saying that, why did I circle that? Okay, call new. that we fed whoever it is. We fed. Okay. She fed. By itself, he fed. Here's this one. In a different color. T. What does T mean?
Her.
I,
I.
Oh, that's right.
So I caused to eat, meaning I fed. You see? So what the point is that you can add different endings. When it's just 3 letters by itself, you know automatically it's he. When I add this other thing right here, the T on the end, then it's I. If I add the new, it's we. If it's the hey on the end, she. And so you can change it from first person, second person, third person. It could be singular, it can be plural, it could be masculine, it could be feminine. So you got to know your pieces to your puzzle. Okay. And so I'm showing you this because I want you to understand that you have to look for those markers for and once you learn those endings and you know that stuff, you'll be like, oh, I get it. I'll get it because you're reading from right to left, but you're transliterating from left to right. You're transliterating and translating from left to right. Okay. Here's an example right here. What is the root? It's a little tricky one here. Remember the rule.
The yod replaced the letter. Right.
So generally on a 3-letter root, there would be 2 spaces between and 1 on the end. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. But we have something here, right? So this word, I know just because I know the vocabulary, the actual root of this word is ba. Okay. I put a little X there. Is ba. This is the actual root of it. So sometimes you're going to see some words with a 2-letter. The reason that they have it by here, it means to be brought or to go, okay, or to come, okay. So with this, what they did was they're still using the hey in front, and then they're going to put that yod right here, and then that's it, okay, because this is talking about a 2-letter, okay. But I think in your first book, they showed you that the word ba is just, this has been minimized. For whatever reason, this has been minimized from a 3 to a 2. I forgot the reason why they did that, but that's what it is. That means to come. Okay. The next one. We know why it's he. Okay. So what do we got here? What's the root?
The mem yod.
That big.
A little tricky. So we got the hey and we got the yod. That's the formula for something causative. That's our base, the basis that we work from. You might have a 2-letter, you might have a 3-letter. In this case, we have a 2-letter again. Okay. Instead of it being 2 spaces right here, they'll put 1 and 1 right here. Okay. The letter that they put here is the moth, right? The mem. And then the next one over here is the tav. Okay. So let me explain to you that the word that they're putting in for your vocabulary, I don't know if they have it in the list, but moth, just these 2 letters right here means death by themselves. Sometimes you might see it say moth. Okay. You might have a Y in it. Okay. Just like the bow. Bow, that's what it was. Bow would either have like this. But they're breaking it down to just 2 letters. They're just using this letter and this letter, and they're just using these 2 letters. and you're not using the Y. And there's a rule. I forgot exactly what the rule is, but what I want you to see is that there's the hay and the yod. When you look for that, that's what you got to look for. Okay, so you got to do some deductive reasoning. You know, this right here is myth, but we don't have any word called myth. It's really moth. It's kind of a little tricky thing that they did right there, but you got to keep your eye open for that. All right. But again, this lesson is talking about, well, you're going to see something with 2 dots. So at the top, you got 1 dot. Here, the second, we got 2 dots. And then they don't tell you why. That's what I'm trying to show you as well. They don't tell you why they're using 1 dot, 2 dots, or 3 dots. They'll come back later and try to explain it in another book or a later book because they don't even know why they put it there. So that's why I'm focusing on what are you supposed to look for. Okay. Here, we've already been over this example. And what do you have? You got a hay, you got a yod, you got 2 spaces right here, and then you got another space right here. You got a call as your root. And then your lamed, which is he fed. He caused something to eat. Okay. And so you guys already mastered that. Any questions? Then at the bottom, they tell you, oh, it can look like this. It can look like that. It can look like that. But they don't tell you what those dots mean because it has to do with the deeper level of grammar. Okay. And I don't want to go into it because I don't want to confuse you even more. Now let's take a look at this. All right. So now we're looking at the voweling of the hay group, you know, group number 3, passive verbs. The form of it is. And it's talking about there's 3 ways of voweling it, all right? However, the vowels are different from vowels of an active form. So what it's letting us know, you guys, is that vowels that's what gets us confused, okay? It gets us really confused because you're going to see stuff like with the 1 dot. You're going to see that they just showed you, you're going to see the 2 dots. And you're going to see with the 3 dots. Okay. All right. And that is an active way. Okay. Now we're going to be dealing with the passive. So the hay will have the 3 dots underneath it. It might be, so it'll look like this. And then you might also see it look like this. And then you'll also see it with this underneath it. So all these are nothing but signs to tell you that it's passive. Okay. So if that's the case, right? And there's 3 of them, just like there's a 1 dot, a 2 dot, and then another 3 dots. And they don't tell you what it is. They just know, all you know is the sounds E, A, and E. Okay. Here, these give you the sounds. So when you look at this one here, you'll know something's passive. Okay, which would be a sound or who sound. So there's a, which you put that hey on the front of it would be a H, or it can be who, or it could be ha. Okay, those are the sounds and those are the markings. Okay, so you got the markings that tell you what a passive is, and then you also have the sounds that go along with it, basically. Don't let this intimidate you, okay? Do not let it intimidate you. So using these examples on the bottom from a previous page, you can see the active ones are the 1, 2, 3 dots, you know, the single, the 2, and then the bowling pin or the center mass from, you know, using a some type of scope. And then on here, on this side is showing you that, hey, these are the passive ways, okay? So we got the active ways that are underneath the front of the hay. And then now over here, we're going to have these to tell you that it's passive. The active is you actually causing something. And then the active is, or the passive is something is being caused to happen to you. Okay. So you'll see this. So let's get into what or how you should understand this. So the first example here, telling us what the active is, that's an active, that's a passive, that's an active, that's a passive, that's an active, that's a passive. Okay. All of them are he. And the reason why they're all he is because they're all in their perfect third person masculine singular with their roots. Okay. Again, 1, 2, 3 letters. 1, 2, 3 letters. Okay. So you can see that you can have two. If you had this taken out of here, and you get rid of this, 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 they're almost exactly the same. Well, what's the difference? What's the difference between these two so far?
The yod between.
At yod. So if you know the first letter and you know this one, you go, oh, that's active. That's an active. Because you might ask yourself, if these dots weren't there, would I know how to say this and would I know what it meant? Okay. So what's the understanding? The understanding when you're reading something is to say, if I see this yod and this hey right here, I have to frame it in my mind that when I see this combination with the spaces in between, whether it be 1 or 2 spaces and another one in the end, I know just off of these 2 letters right here, I know that this is active. That's what you have to remember. You got to remember that. Okay. Then if I don't see that yod, like here, if I don't see it, that tells me that it's what? It's passive. What else is passive about it? These 3 dots going down like this. You see? So there's different things that could tell you if something is active and passive. And that's what your job is to find out what they are. And the way that you can commit this to memory is by reading the Torah. That's the only way you'll be able to remember this. Okay. You already know what the 3 letters are and the 2 letters, and that's fine, right? But now you got to understand what these marks mean. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Is this active or passive?
Passive.
Passive. Okay. One clue too for you to understand is not just the way it looks, but the way that it sounds. Okay. And that sound will be who. Okay. So that's huvash. That's how you say that. Who, I mean, huva, who. Okay. Who. Okay. Or So who and are U sounds. Remember? This right here is a oo sound. Okay, the oo, the long U sound. That's a long vowel of oo. Right? That's long. Here's the short. Huh. Okay, so I got huh and I got who. And then ha. Okay. So sounds. But the passive also tells you that it was something. It was dressed. It was brought. He was fed. Meaning it happened to him. Okay. So was is part of this as well. So that's another way. So you got to attach that. So anytime you see this, you got to say was. You and I, after you know that this in particular form is causative, you don't have to keep saying because you'll get confused. He caused. You don't have to say that. You should know when you see this that is causative. You should know when you see this that it was causative. You should know that that's active. You should know that that's passive. That's something you have to commit to your memory. So you're not going to read it. When you first start, you're going to be like, he caused it, or he this, or he that. That's why they have it in parentheses, is because they're telling you like, hey, it's causative. And he caused this, meaning he fed, then they give you the explanation, he dressed or whatever. So here, for who and for this one, it's he was dressed. Okay. Lavash, He, here, was, okay? He was. He was. 3 different ways that it could be said or written out. So it'll take some time. But you're getting the idea between active and passive. You know that they're different. What I want you to take from this, is that there's 3 of these and there's 3 of those. There's 3 actives and there's 3 passive forms. Forms mean just the way that it looks. Okay. Rivqua, go ahead.
Can you pronounce those the way they're supposed to be pronounced, please?
Which one? The ones on the bottom in the box?
All of them.
Yeah.
Oh, no, all of them.
Okay. So
No,
let's,
the one, the group above.
oh, this one?
He fed, he dressed, yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. So let's go right here. So this one here is a short vowel, right? Because it's 1 dot. So that one is called, if I wrote it out like this, it'd be healed. That's the first part of the word. The next one is with a dot in it, and instead of that bet, that's to be a B sound with a two E's, because that's a yod, and the dot represents this E sound, okay? And then the shin on the end, which is SH. So you tell me how to say it now that I spelled it out.
Hill Bashish.
No, let's, I'm sorry for that last part over here. Heel, bish,
Oh, Hill Beach, yeah, Hill Beach.
heel, bish, okay? Excellent. I'm glad you asked that question. Let's look at remember you guys, this is a little technique that I'm teaching you that you could do on your own. Take a piece of paper and write it out. So let's start off. The first one is a hey on the front, and that's the letter what?
H.
H.
Okay, that's done. Now you got 3 dots. What are the 3 dots from what I told you? It's a
Ooh.
it's a
U.
so it's
You.
a U sound.
Mhm.
Okay. Now it's short, so you got to say it together. What's the next letter?
Lamed.
L.
Which is a L. Okay, now we're gonna make a division. So that's the first part. Now, what's the second part of this? The
B.
letter next. It's just a
Bet.
B. It's a bet, which has a dot in it, so it's a hard B sound, and it has what underneath it? You could either do a AW or a AH. Okay,
Mhm.
and then what's left?
Shin.
Shin.
SH. So how do I say that?
Bash.
Hul,
Hulbash.
hulbash. So the
Hulbash.
first one is hilbish, the other one is hulbash.
Hulbash. Mhm.
Yeah. So when I say hul, is it active or passive?
Passive.
Heel, heel, is that active or passive?
Active.
Active.
So you can see different sounds will tell you if something is active or passive, and you have to keep your ears open. If it's really a or a oo, then you should know, oh, that's passive. If it's heel or hey or he, then you know that, oh, that's active. And that just comes with practice. Let's do the next one. What letter?
H.
H.
H. The 2 dots represent what sound?
A.
Okay, so it could be a EY or AY, doesn't matter. We're just writing it out, okay? And what's the next letter?
V.
It's a B, but it doesn't have a dot in it. So what kind of sound is it
V.
gonna be? It's gonna be a B sound.
V.
And then it has a dot and a yod. So what sound is that?
E.
The 2 E's, right? E, okay? So how do you say it?
Heavy.
Heavy. Yeah, heavy. 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 Okay. Now let's look at the difference on the one underneath it. See the heavy? Okay, you hear that E? So when we hear heavy ish or heavy, then you know, oh, that's active because they have that E sound in it. You see, because you know that's the yod, that .NET yod, right? And it can be proven in every one of our examples. So right here, this sound is an H, and then what?
E.
Ooh, and then
Oh,
then what?
V,
Va.
E, and then the ah. How do you say it?
Huva.
Va.
Huva. You hear that? Huva. That is passive. And you would know if you, once you do your study, be like, that who tells me that it's passive, meaning he was brought, because va is to go or to come off your vocabulary words. So you'd already know. Okay. Next one.
H.
That's an H with an eh sound underneath it. And then what?
E,
E.
Eh,
Mm.
eh, what?
and He.
That's a K
Eh,
sound, right? It's a
okay,
soft K. So let's just go
K.
K right here. And then we got the two E's and the L. So how do you say it?
E.
Ekil.
He'ekil. It's not hard. So you were promised like he'ekil. He. Oh, he is active. All right. He'ekil. He'ekil. Okay. Now let's do the one on the bottom. What is it?
H-A.
H-A.
Okay, so let's do that. H-A, which is ha, and then what?
Ah, again. Ah,
All. Uh-huh. Ah, what?
I call.
all.
Call. Ha, a call. Ha, a call. Ha. Okay. Ha, a call. You see? That's how you do it. So don't worry, you know, when you want to learn how to say something, you just got to spell it out and it'll come to you like, oh, okay. So that's how I was able to understand this a little faster, is because I will write it out. Okay, that's what I would recommend for you to do as well. Let's look at some examples here too. These are some words being used in a sentence. They're using two. They're using the active form and they're using the passive form. They're using hilvish and they're using hulvash. Somebody read to me the first sentence. Don't
Ra,
understand it, just read it.
Rauban.
Yeah,
No. Rauban.
yeah. Uvain. Uh-huh.
Hilbish.
Yes, hilvish.
Beach. Et.
Yep.
Hayeled.
Hayaled. There you go. So once you get used to saying something, you go hayaled. Then go say it again. Hayaled. 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 You got to get your tongue used to saying it. Excellent. One thing though, I want to
Here's a question.
Yes.
How do you know where to put the accent?
Oh, that's a that is what you would call it's called, yes, the accent, right? And it's usually there's three different places that is said to be, it could be done. Okay. So this is a little grammatical stuff, is a little deeper, which is good. What you're asking is an advanced question. Okay. So they have one called they got one called, and we'll go over this when we get to that, which is a pretonic, tonic, and I think it's called prepartonic. Okay. Prepartonic. Okay. So depending on the letter, on what letter is being used, like say Devar. They have this concept of being open and close. Okay. That's the idea behind when you put an accent. I'm going to try to simplify it. Okay. if you use the word davar, the bet, that's a dalet right there, and then you got a bet, and then you got the resh. Okay. So when we talk about open and close, what we're talking about is this idea between, because davar is this is a very simple way, okay? Because this is a verb, and a davar means to what? If anybody can tell me.
Speak.
It means to
To
speak.
speak.
Okay. So there's this idea behind open and closed. All right. So where you would know to put the accent on what, which you put your emphasis on when you speak it depends on where the open and close is. What I mean by open and close is if I wrote this out in English right now, it'd be what? D,
A,
ABR.
da. All right. Let's start right there. Okay.
B,
It could be that, or it could be that. Just depends on how you see it. Okay. Let's just say this, da. Okay. Let's just see the two letters right there, da. And what's the next one?
B.
B,
Yeah,
No.
you got a B. Okay. So let's put the letter there. And then what?
R,
Yeah.
or A.
Okay. So debar. Okay. Now, you guys are smart people. You tell me based on what you see with your eyes. Okay. Which one is open and which one is closed?
Da is open. R is
Yes, die is open. The reason why die is open because it doesn't have a letter, a consonant to close it. So anything with a consonant, if it's two consonants, they have a vowel. So if we wrote this out grammatically in a structural way, it would be the dalet is a consonant, and then you have a vowel, and then you have the B would be a consonant, and then why? Geez, you see me right in the opposite direction? Yes, I'm in the Hebrew. Okay. So a consonant, vowel, and then a consonant, vowel, and consonant. You see? So this right here is this. And this right here, the bar right here is this. When you have something that's a consonant, vowel, consonant is closed. That means there's nothing else to be said. Okay. When I just got a consonant and a vowel, it's open. It's completely open because I didn't close it off with a consonant. Okay. Because when you say bar, there's nothing else to be said. When I say da, it's open for me to say the next word. Okay. The next consonant. All right. So your emphasis should be on that which is closed and not open. I don't say da bar. I say the bar. Okay. So the closed one is where you're going to put the emphasis on. That's where your accent goes. And there's other rules too that go along with that, but that's the simple explanation.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, grammatically structure and rules are applied to this language. It's just not a, hodgepodge language. It's very organized. Okay. So you did really, really well there. All right. On that one. Somebody read this one right here.
Hayred halbish.
Yeah, read the sentence right here.
Oh, which one?
Read that sentence.
Oh. Reuven Havia or Havii et Mashon.
Okay. So
Oh, Mishon. Oh no. Shin on.
that's his brother, Shimon.
Oh, Simon. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is Shimon. Exactly. Okay. Say what Ra'uvain, right? And he what? Havi. Just off Havi alone should tell us something. It's actively he's doing it. Havi eth. There's no dot in this T, so it's not et. It's not et. It's eth, like a ETH. That's the biblical Hebrew way of saying it. Et is a modern Ashkenazi way of saying it. You want to keep it in its original of an eth. Okay. And the eth is without that dot. Sometimes you might see it with a dot, depends on what it is, but here it is. Reuven, Hevi, eth, Shimon. So what did Reuven do? If this is to go or to come,
Right.
okay, so what is it?
Right.
He
Right.
brought. So when I say this, when I look at this, I go Reuven is the subject, and this right here tells me the third person masculine singular. I know that because I'm talking about one person. Okay, that's the he of Hevi. Okay, and the eth is pointing directly to what the verb he did do. He brought this person, pointing an arrow directly to them, the accusative, right? So the Hevi is directed towards, the verb is directed with this arrow directly to my object of my verb. This is my noun, and my noun is my subject. I'm telling you what he did. My subject brought him. That means he caused him to what? To come. See? And so when you read the text in the Hebrew, you understand like, okay, well, if it's talking about third person, the person who wrote this wrote it in the third person masculine singular. So it tells me something about the conversation. You know what it tells me? It tells me that he wasn't there. That's what it tells me. When someone writes in third person, it tells me that they weren't there. If they said I or Yahweh said to me, there, and he's right there. If you're talking about a third person, that means that person is not there with them. They found out about it later. Okay. You see? That's very important for you to understand. All right. So then it goes about how many dots and so forth and so on. Stuff you guys already know. Tells you how to use the passive and all that. So they're going to give you a lot of little work here to do when you look at this stuff. Okay. But let's look at this conversation. I don't know who wrote on my board with their pen.
That was me by accident.
You better clear it.
I don't know how to do that, man.
Go to
I messed
annotate,
up.
go to annotate and push that little box and says clear. Push that little garbage can and put clear on your side. You're in trouble with the teacher.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So go to annotate and go to clear, and it'll clear your writing, like just like you did to write it. Go to annotate and then push clear when you get a chance. All right. So Reuven fed. Right? Somebody explain this to me. How do I know that he fed?
Because it's causative.
Yes, it's causative. Excellent. Is it active or passive? It has 3 dots underneath it.
Active.
Active. So he actively did that. Okay. How do you know it's fed? What's the 3-letter root?
A
A
call.
call.
A call. That means to feed. That's how easy it is, folks. Don't get tripped up about this extra letter in here, this yod. It just tells you like, oh, that's the hey and the yod. Oh, I know that that's active. Oh, I know that's active causative. Oh, okay. Don't be tripping off of this extra letter. Like, what am I going to do? I can't say it. I don't know how to say it. Yes, you do. This and this right here is an E sound. If you remember that, you'll be fine. Okay. It's not hard. You just got to know your pieces to your puzzle. So we know that's cause. We know that, you know, the he right here is Reuven because they only mention him singularly. And then here's the call, the root. All right. And that's good. We know it's a male because Reuven is a male. We know it's is the verbal action matching the person, meaning like in number? Yes. Because the call is a third person masculine singular, 3MS. And it matches who? Reuven. Reuven is what? He's a male. Right? Or am I correct? Am I saying something ain't right? Yeah, he's male. So Reuven matches the action. He matches the verb. If it was a whole bunch of people doing it, then guess what? The he'akol or he'akil, the he'akil right here would be plural if this was plural. And we learned that in our first book. Okay, let's deal with this one. How do you say that? Thank you, Okot Aki Bey. Thank you for that. You cleared it up.
Ain't the ball.
You're getting out of you're no longer in detention. All right, so here it is.
How you live?
Oh, there you go, Dr. You read? How you led what?
How call?
There it is. It's simple. All right, so now let's break it down. The ha on this right here is the. Yaled is what?
Boy.
The boy, deductive reasoning. Now, the next one was. Well, how do we know it was? Oh, because the hey and the ah right here tells me that is it active or passive?
Passive.
It's passive because it was. It's something that was done, right? On to the boy. The boy was fed. Reuven fed, but the boy was fed. Okay. So now they're going to tell us they're reversing it. Like, for example, Reuven He'ekil, he fed somebody, which was probably the boy. And now he's talking about the Hayaled Ha'akol. He was fed. So how do we know it was fed? Because it has the 3-letter root right there. How do you know it's singular? Because the root right here is third person singular. How do we know that it was passively? Because it has that in particular sound and thing under there, ha. Because we understand it. We know that. We accepted it now. We know if it's he or hey or he. We know this right here is all active ways. We've accepted that. 1, 2, 3. 3 different ways that it can be done active. So we know that if there's 3 active ways, they got to be balanced. There has to be 3 passive ways. So now that I got the 3 active and I memorized and I've accepted it, now I'm going to say, well, how am I going to do my passive? Oh, 3 dots underneath. Oh, who? That's it. It's not hard. This is not hard, people. Okay. It just means that you like, damn, I got a whole bunch of pieces to my puzzle. Because I could use the hey right here for the, but I could also use it for causative on this verb. You understand? So what's the difference? The difference is when a hey is used on a verb, I don't want to confuse you. The hey that's on a verb, just say this is a verb. I'm going to write it backwards. So I don't know, man. I'm getting crazy. Dang, I'm actually right. You can see how I'm writing?
Oh, yeah.
It makes you crazy. But anyway, so you can see the haze is using here for a noun. Okay, on the front of a noun. You can see that hey is used on a verb. Okay. So in its context, it's being used on a verb to mean passive. Okay. And you can see the hey with the yod. That tells you this active. And you just have to accept it. Don't fight against it. Don't try to figure it out. Just go along with the program. I was fighting it. I was trying to like, okay, well, why? You know, just, you know me, I'm the person who want to know why. They're not going to give it to you right quick. It's a process. So those are your different examples, again, that you can see. You guys have done a wonderful job. Okay. So I'm going to send these to you. You guys know enough about it for me to pass it on to you. And then on the end here, they're going to give you the, the causative verbs and active and passive and show you the active way and the passive way to do it. And once you start practicing these things, you'll be like, man, this is nothing. I know this. And you just got to practice. And again, if you don't know how to say something, what do you do? What do you do right here? You say, that's a lot of letters. Let's spell it out. H, come on, together. H,
H,
I,
I,
L. Okay, here we got a space. And we got B
B
E E
E
S H
H.
U.
U.
How do you say this? He'll
B shoe.
he'll be shoe.
Issue.
He'll be shoe. Oh, if that's he'll be shoe, then how do I say this? H
Ul-
L
B shoe.
B right? U H S H O O. How do I say that?
Oh.
Shoe.
All of us shoe.
Shoot.
All of us shoe.
Ul shoe.
He'll be shoe. He'll be shoe.
He'll be
He'll
shoe.
be shoe. Hull be shoe. He'll be shoe. Hull be shoe. He'll be shoe. So you can hear the sounds, and then they break it down and tell you who they're talking about. They could tell you the masculine or feminine. They tell you if it's first person, second person, third person. They tell you what the actual, three-letter root is, which is the lavash, right? The lamed, the bet, and the shin, right? And so it's all in here. It's all the way up to the top. So what you're doing is, the reason why they give you so much of this is because they're trying to get you to accept this, the way it's written, but I want you to accept the sound. Okay, I want you to be like, he, hey, hey, who, passive, You got to find a way to make it stick. So you put some music on. You hear what I'm saying to you? Don't make it boring. If you make it boring, you're gonna just leave off. I don't need to learn this. I ain't talking to nobody at work with this. These people don't know what this is. You're doing this so you can apply Yah's words perfectly. And you'll understand how something is being said and who it's being said to. Okay. And then in summary, when you get your summary, you'll see, oh, look where I'm at right now. Look what I know. I know group 1, 2, and 3. I know the simple active, simple passive. I know I got forceful down in the active and passive forms. I understand that. And I know what their identification signs are. I know what it looks like. I know what it is. I understand it. And have some confidence. You need confidence in this language. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to fall off and get depressed. And you're like, can't do it. I'm not smart enough. You are smart enough. This is your language. This is what Yah has given to you to understand the Torah. If you don't read this, somebody's just going to take advantage of you. That's all it is. You're just going to be taken advantage of. People are going to still be, exploiting you when it comes to the knowledge of the Creator. When you get this language down and you have the basics of it, it makes you very, very powerful. Okay. Matter of fact, you might have a little arrogance about yourself because you like, when somebody's talking to you and they don't know what you're talking about, you'd be like, I'm sorry, that's not what it is. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's not said that way. And it empowers you. It empowers you to teach other people with confidence. I wouldn't be teaching the Torah right now if I didn't know how to do this language, period. Because I vowed to the Creator that I would never speak another word of his words unless I was able to do it with the right understanding. Because for many years, I was a Christian, and for many years, I inadvertently lied to people. I didn't know I was lying. I didn't know I was giving misinformation. I was just thought I was smart. I can read, I can speak, but I wasn't speaking truth. You see? So the English language will cause you to, be misled, and you can mislead others. So you're just trying to help people out, and you're trying to help yourself out by being able to apply. Because if you don't have a language, you don't have a heartbeat. You don't even know who you are. You don't understand your culture. Any questions?
I was gonna say that when you said speak with confidence, it reminds me of the first act of Don't Mess with the Zohan. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie before.
Which one is it called?